Man, I love that intro music. God damn. All right, we're starting a little late today, guys. But I am here joined today by Marco Aurelio Leal, UFO researcher, investigator, and co-producer of Moment of Contact, the documentary created alongside James Fox, exploring the 1996 Varginha incident in Brazil, a case that involved reports of a crashed craft, military retrieval operations, and alleged encounters with non human beings witnessed by civilians in broad daylight. Marco isn't really just someone who came into the picture or the story from the outside looking in. He's from Brazil. He's spoken directly with witnesses, military sources, doctors, investigators, and people who have carried this story with them for nearly a decade or 3 decades. I'm sorry, not a decade. He's become one of the leading voices preserving the history of the Varginha case and examining what really happened. And if you look at the map of UFO history, South America holds some of the most astonishing cases that have ever been reported, from mass sightings to military encounters, close contact experiences, open government investigations, and legends passed through generations and uh, culture. I'm off clearly. Why does Brazil and South America more broadly continue to sit at the center of this phenomenon? What makes these cases endure? And what has Marco learned from chasing one of the greatest mysteries in ufology? Let's find out. Marco, welcome to the show, man. So glad to have you.
Hey Tyler, how are you? Thanks so much for having me on here and the opportunity.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
You I mean, I've had you on several times. We I think you and I just have this kind of rapport that we've built over the years. And but we haven't had a chance to talk since the new cut of Moment of Contact came out. And the National Press Club happened. And there's a lot of stuff that of course I want to talk about. But for anyone who doesn't or isn't familiar with what you've done, can you just briefly summarize who you are, how you got into it, and how you started working with James?
Oh yes, thank you. And yes, I like it. I started with the subject when I was 14, 15 years old here in my city because when the Varginha case happened, I just had it 11 years old at the time. And then I remember like back to the 90s, all the like the televisions and the shows, they were talking about UFOs here. They were talking more seriously, like serious about the subject because we had a bunch of cases that was happening in Brazil that time. I remember the chupacabras attack that we had
Mm.
it here like in the beginning of 1996, and then we had it like in 1997 the whole year. So many cases of chupacabras, and also other cases that happen in a lot of states of Brazil. And then the television was showing like the public all about these cases. So and then I remember in the beginning when I had 11 years old, the Varginha case was the most impressive because we had it like a real new case with the witness. And then I remember to see the leaders investigator of the case, the Ubirajara Rodrigues and Vittorio Pacatini, Claudio Ricovo, and others researchers that they went there to investigate the case. And I remember that all the media, the television, they were waiting for new information. And then those researchers, they got a lot of information from that case in 1996, and then they still they were working on like for many years. And then I remember I felt in my heart like when I was little kid, like I said, oh my God, I would like to know real, like for real, what happened there. And then I remember I had the chance to go to Virginia for the first time in 2004. So when I had it, the opportunity to participate because they did a big UFO Congress in Virginia with all the researchers at the time, and then I had the first contact in Virginia with the researchers, and I started to go to Virginia to investigating like the case again. Like I remember 2005, I went again, and then I started all these investigations, and then that was crazy because everybody that we were talking about, that we were like trying to connect the case, every like a lot of local people knew a little bit, like some pieces of it, the case. So, and then I had the opportunity in 2011 to meet James Fox because he came here in Brazil to do a lecture in a UFO Congress. And then I remember he was asking
Mhm.
about the Varginha case because he didn't believe yet that Varginha case happened. And I remember the researcher, incredible one, the Stanton Friedman, he was here too, and he knew a little bit more about the Varginha case. And then I remember he told James, "Hey James, was a serious case, and I think you should investigate like this case because I remember James, he was doing I think his second documentary, um, or the third one. I don't remember, but and then he was really interested about it, and then he had a chance to come back in 2012, like with another film crew that they did a show that's called Chasing UFOs when he did with more two
Yeah.
talented guys. And then we did the first episode about the case, but it was very raw, like we didn't have like much information. Was very hard to get those girls, the three girls on camera. And then actually we didn't have any kind of new information. Um, we had the three girls that was very hard to get them on camera. And then we had the farmers, the Eurico and Oralina, that the couple that I saw the strange UFO with the shape like a submarine, like a cigar, and they saw. So that's what when we kind of always started with this project with Varginha, you know.
Right. And James had initially, like you had said, James kind of wrote this case off when he had first heard about it, saying, well, hold on. You're talking about a UFO crash, broad daylight with military intervention. And the part that was the real kicker was the bodies, the alien, the extraterrestrial. I mean, maybe we shouldn't even say that, but the non-human intelligence running around the city. Um, that was the part that he was like, this sounds crazy. He probably was thinking about his reputation, and then he learns about it. He goes down there. Um, you say Stanton tells him. He then has a chance to investigate and talk to a few more people, and he slowly but surely starts coming around and realizing that everyone in this town of Virginia, they were. It was like it wasn't reported in the United States. It wasn't something that made it around the world and headlines. And if it was more like made of a joke. And I feel like that was by design. But when he started getting out there and investigating and talking to people, he realized very quickly that this was a genuine contact case. And if not one of the best. And
Yeah,
that's a
that was
yeah. because I remember
Yeah.
the
So
national, what was it, Discovery Channel that came down, and that was the short show, and he felt that it didn't do enough justice to the case, and then he wanted to include the case and the phenomenon, but he ended up taking that part out because again, he just didn't feel it did it justice. So he told you on the phone because he had to call you and say, "Hey, we're
yeah,
taking it out of the phenomenon," and you were like,
yeah,
"Oh no!" But you
yeah.
understood because he said, "I'm going to make a full documentary," and that's when Moment of Contact kind of started to happen.
Yes, exactly. Good that you remind me. That was really incredible because when we started in 2000, like 13, again with the new project to do the actually he had this project with the movie that's called 701. And then I remember he had the Varginha case incident that he would like to put it on, and then he had the Kennedy Arnold already. He already interviewed the 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 daughter of the
Yeah,
Kennedy Arnold, and then he had the Zimbabwe case, the Ariel School case, and the Zamora case. So was the fourth of it. And then I remember we were investigating here in like always going to Varginha to get a new information. And then
right.
he said, "Oh my God, there's a lot of information." So I don't know. Like he's supposed to. I remember he added like a video with some sections of Varginha that we had. We had a very little things in the beginning, and then he said, "Oh my God, now the case is growing up, like the information." And I remember this was in 2015 or 2016 that he told me like. Marco, I'm so sorry, but I think it's not possible to put in the Varginha case on this new documentary that I'm working on. And I changed the name, like the 701. Now it's gonna be the phenomenon. And
Mhm.
then there's so much information, so much things going on, and I don't think this is gonna be possible. So if the phenomenon, I'm gonna put in another things, really incredible things, but if this is going to be like a very good movie, we can have a chance after to do one on documentary about Varginha case. So that's what happened, and then and then he came here again, like he came a bunch of times to Brazil that we went before, and then in 2021 when he came, we had all this new witness, and with the oldest witness that we could interview there, and then we did the first moment of contact, and that was incredible because it was kind of a dream, because we would like to show the people what really happened in Varginha, because like I remember in 1996 a lot of people was curious about it. All the Brazilian people were like, "Oh my God, what happened?" But of course, we had so many fun shows, comedy, and they were
Yeah.
making lots of fun of the girls and of other witness. So was really hard, because then I remember the the witness, they, oh my God, I don't want to tell anymore the story, and then they were
Yeah.
making fun, and then all like people in Brazil, oh, I think this was not all of them, but I think maybe the half, they were saying like, oh, this is a bullshit, this is they created this story. And then but we that's what we had this feeling, this dream to come in and show what really happened with a bunch of people, like witness that.
And I have to give you guys credit because what you've been able to do with this case specifically, Virginia, because there's a plenty more that you're very well versed in. Virginia is just, I think, what you're probably most well known for. But you're well, you're so knowledgeable, and we'll get to some of those other cases, especially late a little bit later. But um, you brought you and James single-handedly brought revived this case in the public eye. Maybe not even revived it, but revived it in South America, but really brought it to people's attentions all over the world, maybe for the first time for the rest of the world. And the case is so solid. You guys laid it out so well that it is hard to watch Moment of Contact and then say to yourself, yeah, they're all lying. They're all lying. It's so hard. You guys, I mean, and what I find very interesting and something I wanted to bring up pretty quick before I forgot about it is, so the case of Varginha happens in 96, right? But a year later, what is it? Captain Holloman? I forget. The captain from Operation Disc or Operation Saucer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He ends up
Holanda.
passing away.
Yes, exactly. That's a good because unfortunately in 1997 the captain that was involved in the operation plate that we have here in 1997 he did a interview with a big show, a big um, show in Brazil that we call Fantástico. It is every Sunday night on TV still until today. It's pretty popular in Brazil. And then he did an interview telling like the public what he experienced there. And then like that was weird because I think 2 months later he passed away, and then everybody was telling that he killed himself, you know. But some people they don't believe in this, you know, because was really suspicious death, you know,
Yes.
that was really incredible. And then I think once the biggest case in Brazil, for real, like the operation plate that we had it was incredible because we have so much documents by the Air Force documents that show that they were like investigating, and then you have all the draws like with the shape of the the objects that was flying there, and then was incredible. I had a chance to be I went there a couple of times, I think 4 to 5 times to the Amazon, like Colares and all these areas. But the case, it's like the information that we have on internet is just little of the things that happened there, you know. And sorry about my English, guys, but I'm trying here. So you guys understand. Yeah.
No,
And
you think you have bad English, but you have great English, man. So for someone that's hearing about Varginha for the first time, can you just recap what happened in January of 1996?
yes, I remember in the beginning of the case, the first show, it was like telling that the three girls saw this strange creature, and then they started to investigating, and then they did a big puzzle of the case. So, and then when you see the case, you can say like on the January 13th, the Carlos de Souza, the guy that you met there in US, he was driving on the Fernão Dias freeway, and then he saw this strange, shape of like a object, like a cigar shape, and then was like with like some smoking around, and then he was in the freeway and he thought that was a airplane, and then he said, "Oh my God, this is gonna fall, and I needed to go to help them." And then he said he turned it like he did a return in the freeway, and then he went to this dirt street that connects to this Maiolini farm. And then when he arrived, he saw this all kind of pieces of the object the UFO was all a lot of pieces because already had crashed at the place. And then he said like maybe some minutes a little late, like three trucks came from the other side on the from the dirt road, and then came like all these military personals, and they were like jump from the trucks to the land, and then they already started to pick up the pieces, and someone came to him and say, hey, he saw like the military, maybe the captain, I don't know, saw him with like a little piece in the hand, and then he said they came and then took from his hand and said, hey, you get out from here. And he said, no, please, but I want to help. There's people there, maybe they need a help. I say, okay, don't worry about it, like leave from here. And then they pointed a gun in his face, like, leave from here, we don't want you here. And then he said he got it very nervous, and then he went, like, he turned it the car, and then he stopped it in a gas station, like a closer gas station. And then he said right there, like a little before after, came two guys with like black suits, and then said to him, hey, are you Carlos de Souza? And they knew where he lived, and like some informations, like uh informations from his life, and then from his job. And then said, and then he couldn't believe how this guy already knew it, so much things about his life. And then he said that the guy said, oh, you don't say anything, like, don't say anything that you saw there. And then okay, so he left. And then probably in the same night of January like 13, around 1 o'clock, we had this first testimony from the couple of the Fazenda do Castilho, we call Castilho Farm, that are the couple that are
Yes.
Oralina and Eurica. They saw this UFO flying like for like around 40 minutes. It's crazy, like the how many time, like how long this UFO were like hovering there, like passing by the farm. And then this was probably, actually, the couple, they didn't remember exactly the date. And but they said probably was the January 13th, because connects with Carlos de Souza's statement, or or he said like he could be on the 19th of January 19th. He didn't know exactly what the day was. And then we had like in the morning of January 20th, in the same neighborhood that the girls saw the creature. They said in the morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning, um, we have this place in the neighborhood which it has a lot of, it's kind of little forest with a lot of grass and
Mm.
like big trees. And then the local people there, they saw like a strange animal, like kind of far away. And then the little kids was trying um to throw some rocks on the, like, to the animal. And then they called the
Goddamn
police
kids,
officer.
man.
Yes, because they said
So
the nature
mean.
was kind of yeah, was kind of far away, like kind of far away, but they were like they couldn't see very well the shape of the creature. They said like a strange animal, and then they throw some rocks to try to the
To make
being or
it
the animal. Yeah, exactly. And then they said they called the police officers, and then the firemen brigade, they already were in the neighborhood, because they said they had these big trees they were like cutting, because in January in Brazil, like, we have so much rain. There's a lot of rain because it's the summertime. And then, like days before the January 20th, it, like people were saying that a lot of like big storms that in Virginia they had it, and then a lot of trees fell, and then they were cutting, but they were right there, and then they had this radio with them, and then the police officers from the police station like sent a message, say, hey guys, there's some strange animals right there, could you guys check it out? And then they
Mm-hmm.
went there, and they found the first creature. They were very weak. They said, the military witness from the fireman department, he said in 1996 that the creature was very weak with some oil, and the creature was doing some noise, look like a bee, like pss, 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 and then they throw some net in the creature, and then they got and then put it in a wood box, and this wood box, they got the box, they called the captain at the time from the fire department, and then the captain went there to the forest, and then but they say that he didn't see the creature because the creature already was inside of the box. He couldn't heard the noise, the bee noise. And then the army, already a little after the army arrived, actually they were there in the neighborhood, like driving around, and then the
Right.
fire department gave the box to the army truck, and then they drove in the morning of January 20th to the ESA military base, which based in Three Horts, which is a city. It is like 30 to 40 minutes away from Varginha. It is one of the biggest army base in Minas Gerais in the state. Actually was one of the biggest in Brazil because they had a graduations of sergeants there. Was pretty popular for that. And then
Oh,
and then it's a huge military base there in the Three Horse City. And then they said in the morning they drove this box, and then they deliver it at the army base. And then when was like around 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, this guy, the local guy called Rubão is a local guy, and then he said that they were like playing soccer because every Saturday um, they had appointment 2 o'clock in the afternoon to play soccer in some gym right there. And then they saw when the two trucks came like very fast, driving very fast, passed by the in front of the gym, and then they saw it, and then he told us that he already heard from another friend that in the morning in the neighborhood, another friend heard like a shot, like somebody shoot something, like some military, that he just heard some shoot. And then when he arrived to the gym, like before these two trucks passed by, the guy was saying, "Oh my God, I heard some noise. We heard some shoot, somebody shoot there, but I don't know what happened." And then say, and the other guys was, "But what happened there?" And then said, I don't know. We saw some army trucks. We don't know what's going on. Okay, so they were like playing soccer, and then they saw these two trucks driving very fast, and then they got curious, and four of these guys they went upstairs the neighborhood to see, and then they said these two trucks they were blocking the street, like, and then they didn't let them to pass by they did a, like a blockade.
blockade.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, and then he said, hey, come on, we have we have a free law here, I can go. And they say, no, no, you cannot go right now. They say, no, come on. And they try to do, and then they put on the guns And then say, no, you guys cannot go there. And then this was kind of around 3 o'clock, they said, in the afternoon. Half an hour later, in a street, like very near that blockade, the girls was like walking and they saw the strange creatures 3:30 in the morning. And then the same day in January 20th, like around 6 p.m., and these two police guys, the Eric Lopes and Marco Cherizzi, they were doing, some research at the place. And then they said the story, the story said that they were the creature, like another creature, or maybe we thought that it was the same creature the girl saw because it was very near the location that they saw. And this creature crossed the car, and then some witness said they hit it, the car, like we actually we don't know exactly, but they said they almost hit the creature. And then Marco Cherise somehow he came out to the car and got this creature, and then they drove, they put in the car, and then they drove to the some hospital, uh, in regional hospital in Varginha in the downtown. And then
Regional, yeah.
this is was January 20th. In the morning, like around 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning of Sunday, next day, the January 21st, they transferred this creature to another hospital that we call Humanitas Hospital, which in 1996 the doctor said was they had a better equipment and was a little further and didn't get too much attention. And then they said the creature stayed there from January 21st to January 22nd, when the army base went there to take it out, to take the body of the creature from the hospital, and then they drove to as a military base. So this is really important because we have the statement of military acts. That was military acts, which appears in the documentary, which it talks about that he didn't know like what he was doing. He just knew that was a mission, and nobody never told him what was about it. And then when he said when he parked it in the parking lot of the hospital, and he saw this all kind of militaries like fire department and other police officers and the army, they were there. And then he said they were kind of running, and then he said he got curious, and then he said he went to a door, he saw a door, and then when he went inside of this door was like a room, and then he saw this box with like everybody was looking inside of this kind of box. And then he said he saw this small like thing that he thought at the time that was a strange animal burn it or a man burn it. That was the word
Right.
that he used it. And then he saw like the V, like the foot, and into the knee. And then he said up to the knee, they put it like a blanket, and he couldn't see the body. He just saw the knee into the foot, you know. And then he saw this V, and then he
Right.
was like looking in, and then his captain Hamiris looked at it to him and said, hey, military X, what are you doing here? You're supposed to wait outside. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, captain. And he went outside. Then a little later, he said they put it the box. They closed the box with everything, and they put in his trunk on his truck. And then he said that the intelligence officer, they call P2, S2 from Army. He said, "Oh, now you follow me, and then don't stop for anything. Just follow me." And then they drove directly to as Army base. And then the next day, the captain said, "Oh, tomorrow I need you to drive this thing. They didn't say what was for him in the beginning. So you have to come here because tomorrow you guys have to go to Campinas. It is in another states, in a hospital of Campinas, which is a university in São Paulo. Is a city of São Paulo state. And then he said military X next morning, like 4 in the morning of the January 23 to 23rd, he drove directly to Campinas, and then he arrived to another army base in Campinas, and then when he arrived there, he thought that was really weird because his captain already was there. Probably he got some helicopters, and then he was there like waiting for the trucks. He said it came 3 trucks with him and other civil like another vehicles like intelligence vehicles that were in the convoy, and then they arrived to the army base in Campinas, and his captain Hamidi said, hey, you guys can like take some rest. You guys, if you want to go to sleep, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then they were asking, but about the trucks. And the captain said, don't worry about the trucks, we take care about the trucks. And then they
Your
went
job is
inside of the
over.
yes, and then they said, oh, and then they saw when they like the other militaries got the trucks and they drove into this university when a bunch of another doctors probably was doing some autopsy and they were trying to see how the creature, you know. And then this is was like kind of the base, the
Hmm.
story that the ufologist they had at the time, you know. And then after that, we got so many more people involved in all of this case with doctors and other militaries, and it's an incredible case, you know.
One of the one of the really really interesting, because of course you know, for anyone who wants like the actual full story, check out Moment of Contact and Moment of Contact is it New Revelation
Yeah, new revelation of aliens. I
of
think
it?
alien
Yeah.
encounters.
So I'll put
Yeah,
the links in the description below. James is a good friend. Marco's a good friend. It's such a good film. And but so running it back,
yeah,
we have the farmers, and they
yeah.
look up and they see a craft that is spewing out this white vapor. Carlos
Perfect.
also sees this, right? To some degree.
So I don't know actually. Like, what do you mean? Like, what? I don't know
When
if I understood.
Carlos de Souza,
Yeah.
he saw the craft in trouble as well, right?
Yes.
So
Exactly.
the farmers see it and they say it's got some white vapor that's coming out the back, you know,
Yeah.
but Carlos also sees that it's going to crash. So they
Yeah.
both kind of corroborate each other
Yeah.
in the sense that there was a craft, it was wobbling and it was headed, it didn't look good. Carlos comes upon the crash site. There's metal scattered, there's debris scattered, and he doesn't think UFO, alien. He's a he's a pilot himself. He pilots lightweight craft.
Yeah.
um so he's familiar with aeronautics. And what I find to be extremely interesting is because of course in every case there are certain things that you look for or things that are repeated, right? And the
Yeah.
things that I see repeated throughout this case is the smell of sulfur,
Yeah.
right? Because when I talked to
Yeah.
Carlos, he said that he had to do this like this when he came across when he came onto the crash site. He the smell was so strong that he had to kind of cover his nose, and it smelled like sulfur. And then the girls, they also say the smell of sulfur. The mother of the three girls, or the two girls and one cousin, um they talk about the sulfur. The doctors, they talk about the sulfur smell. um Everyone, military X also, I believe, talks about this smell. So what are some of the things that the public doesn't know about this case still, that you wish they did, even if you can't prove it yet?
Yes. Oh my God. I think the existence, I believe, is very like I really believe that they have the footage, still some evidence there, like from local people, like probably some family's doctor, and we are trying so bad to try to get our hands in this evidence. But there's so much things, Tyler, in Virginia case, because we think that we know only 40% that everything's happened. And these new investigations that we keep investigating, and after the new revelations of alien encounter, and then we have a kind of new witness that saw the UFO. And then this is probably James gonna come back in this year still. And then we wanted to go there to hear their statements, like, because this last time when I was there, I had a new information from a new family that was the neighbor of Eurico Uralino, the couple from the farm, and they leave it there, like in 1996. And these two ladies that I spoke with, they are two sisters, and they live it like some blocks of the farm. The girls live it in a farm too, with their family, like dad and mother. And then they said one night in 1996, a little bit before the media, the television talking about the Virginia case, she said probably was 2 weeks before the Eurico Euralina seen the submarine shape of the object with the white smoke. The white smoke. They said that the whole family, including the grandpa and the grandma, they saw like very good the kind of flying disc that looks like was hovering in the area, and then looks like landed a little bit in the land, and then flew again. They flew again. And then this lady that I spoke with, she had 7 years old at the time, but she told me that she remembered like yesterday, because it was one thing that she got a very, very scared. And then she told me she had to sleep with between
Her
the
parents.
fathers, the parents, yes, in the same bed for many months, like almost 1 year, because she was very afraid. And the another sister, which had a 13 years old, she remembers that that night too, and they saw very near this flying disc that was hovering there. And um, and then she said, if you come here, we are not lying. We can take you there to the same place that we saw, because it's still a farm. And at the time, my dad was working for a judge, like a federal judge, which was the owner of the place. And then the judge uh, said to my dad and to all our family to don't say anything at the time, to never say anything deciding that they have. And this judge, he lives actually in São Paulo, but he has this property, and he used to come there to, get some rest. It's a very beautiful place. And then he also saw with his family, because this family that I'm talking to, they were like it's not a farmer, they took care of the land the place, the the judge place,
Right.
and
They were
then
like
they
the
said,
they were like the shit. I had the word too.
yeah,
They were like the
yeah,
landscaper gate, the keepers of
yes,
the place.
exactly. And then they were living with their family. So this two girls. So these girls, four now 41 years old. Another one I think is 38. So they remember they have this very good uh in their minds, and then and she said, if you come here you can talk to my parents too. And my grandpa, he's still alive. He's very old. He's not very good like in his head right now, but probably you also can talk to him. And the lady was telling me that she had this side in his shoulder, in her shoulder, and she would like to share, and then
When are we
we had
going?
this. Yes, exactly. And then now I'm gonna come back like in June, and I'm gonna speak with the parents and again with the two ladies. It's a really incredible because this sighting connects with another things around the place.
What do you
You know,
mean?
like connects with other sightings, because wasn't only the submarine or the cigar shape. A lot of people that they saw this kind of typical fly disc with some lights, like that was like I think yellow, orange, like doing like this, and then so other people who never spoke, never always was shy to share, right now is sharing, because I met another woman. She calls Thais. I'm editing her statement, and she also said the same. Looks like the same object. These two girls and her family saw,
Mm.
and then they live opposite, like in another neighborhood. And but when they say about the shape of it is very similar, and then it is people they don't know each other yet, you know so this is really incredible because it's gonna put in all the puzzle together. It is people, they don't want money, they don't want anything, they just want to share what they saw. And this lady Thais, and she saw the same disc, and she was also with her family. And then we have the statement of her mom's talking about, and another neighbor that was there, and they saw this very low. And then they all both said, I asked it, so what do you look like they were doing? And then they exact said, looks like they were searching like for other the friends, you know, because she said the Varginha case already, like some people already knew it about the sighting of the girls, and some people in the neighborhood was talking about UFOs and aliens, and then they had this sighting, and then they had a like they said, oh my god, this is true, oh my god, and then they had this sighting. So what is really interesting for me right now, because we never had so many witness that was talking about UFOs, that
It's
we saw.
I mean, Marco, I don't know if you realize this, but this case is so because usually the problem with ufology is we're racing against time, right? Every day that goes by is a day that someone gets older. Someone who was there gets more senile, more or passes away. And in this case, having it had happened so recently in 1996, it, it it's a lot fresher. People are a lot younger. A lot of the people that were involved are arguably in the prime of their lives, right? If not the the early stages of, you know, their twilight years, right? So we have
Yeah.
these people, this really credible group of people that are the core witnesses. But now you have these others coming out and saying, listen, I'm finally ready to talk, right? Because the the stigma is starting to kind of fade away, um, and the ridicule is starting to fade away. Um, is that something? Or do you ever get worried that people might be, because they see the movie and how well it's doing?
Yeah.
Are people coming forward that you guys have to say, come on, you weren't there?
Yes, exactly. That's the important thing you're talking about, because it's very hard to validate it, the stories, because of course also there's so many people that can come and say anything. Oh, I saw this or I saw that, just to appears, you know. But in this case particular, I believe very like well in their family. They don't wanna act in the beginning. They don't wanna be on camera. We have to convince them again, like right now, to see if they could share with this information, new information. And because I feel it so very truly, this witness is especially. There's so many other things that we got that we thought, this is, I think, is bullshit. This is not connecting because this is not matching with that, But this in particular case of these two families that they don't know each other, they live it in the same place, like where this couple had a deciding, and we can validate it, I think, with like it's like five witness from the family, and also we can try to find the family of the judge. That's what we are trying to doing now, this to validate it, the the case. When you get the Ubirajara's book, that was the first book, the leader UFO researcher at the time,
Yep.
which today he's talking about against the case. That's really incredible. And when you read his book, you could see so many sightings of UFOs, not only in Varginha, but all the cities around Varginha that was happening at the time. And then also we have a recording audio from a controller. How do you guys say?
Air traffic controller.
Air traffic controller, exactly, from the Air Force, that was talking about in November or December of 1996, a captain from Air Force called this air traffic controller, like saying, "Hey, could you see on the radar, if you can see right now physically, like some objects that is appear on the radar? I am in this place right here, and which called
Wait,
Furnas."
what?
Yeah, in December of 1996, we had a call, like we have this audio recorded by one of the leader researchers, that like this traffic controller from Air Force. He was trying to help the researchers, and he said, "Oh, I was working in January or in December of 1995. I remember I was working there, and another captain. He was in Furnas, city of Furnas. Furnas is very close from Varginha. It's the area
Mm.
right there, and then they have this huge like." It's not like a river. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a river, big river. And then he said that uh, the this air traffic controller that was working in the radar. He has his radar in
Yep.
front of him, and they said, "Hey, could you see if right now you can detect this object in the radar? Because I'm looking here, and I'm seeing some really weird, strange light that is coming to the water, inside of the water, and then get off the water. And then he said, "Oh yes, I can see right here. There's something that is detected right here." He said,
What?
"Yeah." But was very like nobody. We have this audio recording from that time, And then it said, "Oh my God." So the air traffic controller was trying to say to the researcher, like the researchers, keep trying because this is real. Like the strange activity, we had a bunch. Yeah, yes. This is another thing that he said. He said and then he started to monitor it all the month, and they saw all the UFOs that was hovering on the radar, hovering at the cities, but they saw on the radar because here in Brazil, when you see the airplanes in the radar, they have a small code, like
Yeah,
a
transponder.
code transponder codes, and then they could see, oh, this is airplane parent. When the UFO appears, is different. They showed for us. I remember, actually, there's a show here in Brazil. One time they showed how exactly appears the UFO appeared in the radar, and then they were seeing a lots of this kind of UFOs, like between 3 months. That was incredible, like a lot of activity, strange activity at the place. So was really interesting from the time and gave some power, a little more power for the researchers at the time. And then in the February 16th, they recorded the first audio from a military from the fire department that was talking about the first capture of the creature that was the between the bushes that I told you that the fireman department went there. And then this was the first recording audio that they had it. And then after in May 4th, they had they had the military X talking with very fresh in his mind with much more details that he did in the moment of contact because it was very fresh in his head, and he agreed to recording a video, a statement video in May 4th of 1996, telling his stories and the story, and then like I think 1 week later he convinced another military that was in the convoy to come in and record his statement too. I think the second statement was it's more incredible because military X claims that he just saw the knee into
Yeah.
the feet, the foot. So the another one he saw when some doctor came, and then like with some instruments, and got the he saw like the blanket was like in top of the creature, and then he said very quickly that the doctor took the blanket, and then he saw the thing like the head, he saw the whole thing. And then he said when the doctor um got some instrument and took the tongue, this is tongue, right?
Tongs,
Tongue
yeah.
of the, yeah, from the creature, and pull it out. And then he said when he saw that, it was look like a reptile tongue, because do you know the snake, when you have the snake, the two,
Yeah.
yeah, two, the tongue, like you have the two things on the snake one, was look like the same as the snake, the tongue,
God
you know.
damn.
And then they say he, like, and then the thing was like this, and then went inside of the mouth. And then he said, this was really funny because he said to the sergeant, because he was low, low. How do you say? He wasn't a sergeant. He was just a
Lower
soldier.
rank. Yeah, he's low.
Yeah, low rank exactly. And then he said to the sergeant, "Oh man, you called me here to come to see this." weird like thing, and feeling this smell like sulfur was incredible. Like, and then he was you when you watch this statement from 1996, they are talking about that was really fresh. It's pretty incredible. I mean, and then you see how the nervous the guy he was telling the second one, and then the Pacatini, the researcher, the ones of the leader research in Birajara, they were asking, why you decided to talk to me right now? Why are you talking? Why are you um you know you are in dangerous like right now? And then he said, that's what I, because I saw they follow me. I cannot have my life back, because every time I get off from the base, I see people following me. They are following me like, I don't know. And then they agreed it to recording this statement, just to be a policy, like a
Insurance.
security insurance, exactly, like
Wow.
to keep them. So these statements never got released, from the
The
because they said,
researchers
yeah, because the research said, okay, let's do. They did a deal. Actually, they said, if something happened with me or my family, and then you guys can release that for the big media. If everything's gonna be all right, I mean, you please don't
don't
do that,
publish it.
because
Yeah.
yeah, don't publish. And they
They
already
kept their
didn't,
word.
yeah, they kept the word. So I have a chance to watch those. Actually, the leader research gave me a copy of this statement. Is really interesting, because when you see military acts, when he was very hard to convince him to record in the interview for a moment of contact. And I was very curious to see if he's gonna say the same thing that he said in the statement of 1996. So you can have some contradictions. I don't know if these words,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you
Good. No.
see,
Good.
yeah, yeah, to see if he was like, maybe this guy lied
Right.
at the time, you know.
And if his story changed, you would be able to discern the changes and say, hey, this isn't right. But
Yeah,
I have a question, and I don't mean to divert this, but
yeah,
it's my understanding that military X was ready to step forward into the light and come out, not be anonymous anymore at the National Press Club. But
yes.
they didn't allow his passport to to get through but and I was trying to tell people this there because everyone was wondering like why you weren't there. You were among the batch of people that they didn't let come, right?
Yes,
What
exactly.
happened?
Was really weird, Tyler, because we went all together to get our visas,
The
and
visa,
then
yeah.
they yeah, the visas. And then I remember one of the ladies, the girls, the Valkyria, she got hers. And then was me waiting, and Liliani and Katya, and then Military X, and Marta, the sister of the soldier who passed away 27 days later, the Marco Cherizi's sister. And then she got in hers. And then the guys in the America consulate, they were asking so many questions. And then I never saw that. They said, okay, we're gonna keep your we are not going to give you the answer right now. We're gonna keep the passport, and then I'll let you guys know after. So I this is not the process. I mean, the process, you go there, you have the interview with the Americans, and then they said, "Oh, okay, you're allowed to go. Okay, you are not allowed to go," and then they give you the answer right there. But this was really weird because they denied. like in the beginning they accepted Valkyria, and then after like a week or 2 weeks they said, oh, everyone's denied, you know. And then we didn't have the response, like the responses, and was really weird situation. And then everybody got denied our visas, and then we couldn't go to the Washington DC, you know. That's what James, I think he decided to come, and he recorded again
Hmm.
the statement. I think you guys saw there from the girls, from the military X, from the Marta, and other people that was involved there in the Virginia case. I think the journalist one and the other guy who had the same sighting, looks like the sighting of Carlos de Souza and the couple. You know, there's another guy who calls Fabio Furtado. He saw like also like this strange object, but it was a different shape that he saw that passed by his farm, which was six kilometers from Myolini Farm. And also in January 1996, he saw this strange object passing by very low from his house, and he was with another friend. And then he said the next day he went there to see like if the was kind of landed, you know. Oh, that's nice. That's Rubon. That's one's a witness. It's from Varginha case. That was the guy
Is
who
he the
got
guy that had
blockaded.
the gun pointed at
Yeah,
him, right? Oh
yeah,
my god, I would
exactly.
love
With
to talk to him.
yeah, for sure. He's really good. He knows a lot because after that he started, because he's a local guy, so he knows a lot of people. And
He
Varginha is not big, like very big. And then he knows a lot of people, and then he started to investigate it by himself, and he got a lot of new information. And actually he was the guy also to help me, that helped us to find the witness from the hospital too, you know. He
right.
connected us with another that knew a little something, and the another one that knew a little
Hmm.
something, and then we got into Italo Venturelli, the doctor, the neurosurgery. And actually there's another doctor who knows more. They,
Who
like I
knows
said to
more?
Jesse, yeah, they know more. I know some two doctors, I think, I believe they work with Italo, but they are not, like they are afraid to come for, because when James came here we had a very good relationship with some doctors. And then Dr. Armando, I think you met Dr. Armando in Washington. That was the autopsy guy, doctor, that did it on Marco Cherisi. And then he read a letter from Dr. Giannini
Mm.
at the conference. And then that was really incredible, because when we have this good relationship, we had some dinners in his house in Varginha, and he's very well connected in Varginha. And he called one night, I remember, all the some doc not all the doctors, but some doctors, because the other doctors, they were very like curious about Italo, because Italo was telling the story, and they wanna knew. And I remember in this dinner, we kinda had a confirmation from another one there, you know, but he's kind of afraid. And James knows, everybody who was there know, because it's incredible. It's things
Do,
that we are waiting for to 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 say, to publish, you know.
right. Well, I was
We
gonna
are
say is one of those things. I mean, is military X, because now he couldn't come forward in the National Press Club event. Is he
yeah.
go? Are there plans to bring him forward in something else?
Uh, Sorry, I think I lost your. Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah, are there plans, because military X wasn't able to get to Washington because of the visa situation? He was going to reveal himself. Are
Yes.
there
The
are there plans to do that reveal still, or was that a one time? thing.
No, I think right now he vanished again. That was weird
What?
too. Yeah, he vanished. I can't like I send a message to him. He's not answered. He's like, that was crazy. The last time I saw him was in January when we did the like when we went to try to get our visas little before. And then actually was really funny, man. This is like behind the scenes when we had the new revelation of Alien Encounters premiere in Virginia. He was there, like between the public, like with some hat like
No, and no
on it.
one knows it's him because
Exactly. And then he say, "Don't come and shake my hand." And James the same, you know.
he said,
I was
"Yeah,
like,
don't
"Hey,
don't
hi,
come
hi,
near
yeah,
me. Just
yeah,
let me
exactly,
be in the background and I want to watch."
yeah."
Do you think that someone, and I hate to ask this, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't.
No, for sure, yeah.
Um, do you think it's possible that because he was seen at the visa office that he maybe was approached and reminded of his oath in some way?
Yes, I don't know, man. Actually, that's
It's
weird
hard,
that
I
he
know.
vanished. Yeah, it's hard to say, but I remember he was really afraid because, like in 2021, when we shoot the first documentary, he did the interview very hard to convince. And I remember that it was, I think, 3 months later that we did in 2021. I remember I was driving to the freeway, like in Minas Gerais, and then he called me. I was like, "Oh my God, he's calling!" And then I remember say, "Hey, how are you?" I say, "Hey, Marco. So did you guys tell anyone that I did the interview with you guys?" I said, "No, man. Come on. Why you gonna do that? The movie's not already yet." He just like 3 months later, and then said, "Why?" And I said, "No, because the general from the army base, ESA, he called me like a friend, say, 'Hey, man, how's it going?' Like was like doing
Like,
another
hey, you
conversation.
still live
How's your
here?
family? Yeah, how's your family?
Are you
How's
still married
everything?"
to? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they called them like call him like said oh, you long time you don't come here to visit us. Come over here to visit us. And I said, "Oh, okay, I will." And then he hang up. Oh, and then the guy asked, "Hey, do you know something about some Americans that came here?" And then he was freaking out. Like he said, "What? Americans?" "Yes, the Americans, they came here to shoot a documentary." And then they was like, "No, man, no. I'm living like far away from Virginia. Like, no, I don't know anything." "Oh, okay. All right, man. Like, take care. Come to visit us someday." I say, "Okay, I will." And then he called me, like, very freaking out. I remember I was
Right.
driving. I was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. He never said anything." And then he said, "Man, they know. They already know that I did. I think you guys, because why he would like ask about Americans, like in interview, like, yeah.
He
Actually,
knew.
he didn't say documentary, but he said interview. Yeah, some
He knew.
interview with. Yeah, so this was when he started to be freaking out a little bit. So after that, nothing happened. And then he told me he went to the base, like he spoke with the general and the other friends, but nobody asked anything anymore at that time when he went to visit. So, and then
Whoa.
James came back, like, and after moment of contact, this was now. Then other time was like 2024, 25, when James came back at again. Yes, a little before, I think. And then we had a meeting again with James, and then we were discussing about to go to US to do this press, to
Yeah.
reveal his identity. but unfortunately we couldn't do.
Yeah.
It's really weird, man. Still, I don't know. So
I
now
was
you asked
really
me
looking
to.
forward to meeting you and um
Yes,
it
but
sucked.
we are keeping trying. James said, "I never give up." So we are trying to get, because I think James now is very well connected with some the congressman and with some people, and then we are trying also again to do this, um, to do this again, you know, and then maybe
Yeah.
with more witness, we don't know. And
You
then we also have in our side here a help from a senator now,
right,
like.
right, right. And wasn't the guy that was the the oh shit. Like there was someone in the movie that is like now the president or the mayor or something.
Oh yeah, in the new movie.
The Virginia mayor.
Oh, the Virginia mayor, actually, yeah, he's really interesting. The new mayor right now from 2025, the revelations of alien encounter. James went there, but he didn't put it, I think, in the movie. Probably it's gonna be the third movie, because right now he's doing it again. I think he's working on a new one, and I think this new one is gonna be the statement of the new mayor, because the new mayor, he was kind of witness to. He said at the time, 1996, he had a bakery. He was working with his bakery, and he delivered the breads every day in the morning at the hospital, like in other places too. And then he said, like, every day he went there, he put it like the breads he gave to the hospital. He
Yeah.
was he did like some business, and then he said that day in January he arrived like normal day, and then he got like a blockade too. The militaries, the army was in the side of the hospital, and then they say, "Hey, what's going on?" Say, "No, you guys turn it out. Turn another. Go to another. You have to deliver to another way, another door, gate." They said, "Come on, why, why? No, 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 no." And then he saw all the strange activity at the hospital in
Wow.
1996. So this is the new mayor, and he believes too that happened. And then one thing that is really interesting that we got after the new moment, the new revelations, was we met with the family, with the chief of police, which appears very little on the second documentary, but it's really interesting that the family and his son, the older son and the daughter, and he has a little son too with 14 years old, which is John, and we didn't meet before the other uh, son and daughter. So the because look, because the chief of police was also very hard. He didn't say everything he knew it, you know, and then probably he has a copy of one picture of the creature too, and he was more involved than
He
he
leads
spoke on the
on.
movie. Yes, and then unfortunately he passed away in November of last year, you know. And then that was very, very sad for us, because he didn't have a chance to watch the documentary, and we was guessing, or we were like believing that after that he couldn't tell more than I knew it. And then we
Yeah.
find out after, like, when James came this year, 2026. We went there to speak with the son and daughter, and the older son. I remember that day because my dad called the same day, telling me that, and he was really very, very afraid to put in our security, like, our life in
In
danger.
danger.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like his son, he said the son, the daughter, the child, and he said that's why he never was speaking more.
what he experienced. So he told, and then the son introduced us to his lawyer that we didn't know his lawyer. And then we had a meeting, me, James, Aline, and yeah, the family, and
Yep.
with the lawyer. And then the lawyer was really incredible because the lawyer said, "Oh, like in 2021, he came here to my offices. We were talking about like he has some things about his things that I was working with him." And then one time the conversation started like to the UFO subject. And then he asked me, the lawyer saying, he asked me if I knew about Varginha. He said, of course I know Varginha case. And then the chief of police told him what really happened. And then he said to we have this recording with the lawyer. He said the chief of police told him that this January 20th, he don't know actually the real day, but he said the chief of police he had a call from another investigator and telling about the situation in Varginha. And Dr. Pedro, he was chief of police in Three Horse City, which is the same
The same,
place
right.
which is base of the base. And then he said, "What the hell? I'm going there," because he said he took care of the Varginha city too in 1996. And then he said, "I'm going there to investigate." And then he told the lawyer he arrived there to the place, to the some land or some forest. We don't know exactly where is the place. And then he said, "I was there, and then I saw this two soldiers holding a gun. And then I arrived there, and then I saw like behind the two army soldiers, the fire department or the police officer. Actually, the lawyer don't remember exactly who was, but I think I think he the doctor, the chief of police said about the fire department. They were they were in the capture because the chief of police said he saw when they put the net, they throw the net, and then the other
Oh my
soldiers from
God.
the army was there, and then they said, "Hey, come on!" They point the gun to the chief of police, and the gun of the police got his gun and say, "Hey, you fuckers!" Like, sorry,
No, no, no,
say
it's okay.
you, yeah, I say you guys are under arrested. I'm a chief of police. What the, And then they say the chief of the army, the soldiers was like keeping holding the gun, and then some superior came to the other soldiers and to the chief of police. "Hey, Pedro, come down, wait." And then he saw this scene, like the creature, and they put in a net, and it's a really,
So
we
the
don't know
chief of
exactly.
police
Yes,
allegedly tried to arrest the
the army.
soldiers.
Yeah, because the soldiers pointed the gun for him, and he
Yeah.
was very kind of.
Standoffish.
Yeah, and the people like the lawyer and the people who knew Pedro said that Pedro was very like he was like a bad guy, not bad guy, he didn't afraid anything. He didn't have. They say he was very
Cocky.
he
Cocky, right?
exactly, yeah,
Like
yeah,
like this is my town,
yes, exactly, like that, yes. And
right?
then he said,
So
"Hey," yeah, and then that's what he said on moment of contact, that, "Oh yes, I went to speak with the general." So then he went to speak to the general because the superior, I think was the captain of the army, said, "Hey, Pedro, come down, wait, you let's go to talk in ESA." In the army base. And then he was very pissed off there, and then he went there to speak with the General Lima, which is the commander of the base. And then he said when he arrived at the army base, he saw this strange activity of helicopters, like landing, like flying, and a lot of people, like people who came from the capital, Brasilia, like Washington D.C., like, and then when he went to the General's Lima office to ask about it, General Lima said, "Oh, Pedro, unfortunately, I cannot say anything to you because this is means national security, and I cannot
Wow.
say anything to you." And then, and then this is Pedro told us when he was talking to the general, he saw the table with a lot of other high rank militaries that had a lots of stars in the
Mm,
uniform,
mm.
and they were there to have a meeting. So these guys, they came from Brasilia, which is look like Washington D.C. You guys, you know,
Yeah.
and then they had this meeting. So Pedro then, his son told me he had a trouble, kind of problem in another. Like years later, he had some people that was trying to like to intimate. How do I
Intimidate.
say? Intimidate him, uh, like change him from some police stations, and then he was transferred for another city, and then and then after he changed him for another city, and then they tried to put some crime in his background too. That's what the son told me. And then he said,
Wow.
my dad never said anything because he was afraid for us, not for him, for us. And then he always told us, never speak about this case for nobody, you know. So he totally told the lawyer the real story. And then I remember I had a good connection with Pedro. And then one time I remember he told me the story, but I couldn't understand very well. And then he kind of changed it a little bit, you know. And another thing that nobody knows about this chief of police, it's really interesting because that's about the picture that we knew that he has one copy of the creature, a copy of the creature, because look how this is. I have this information like w- when I met with the chief of police. This was I think in 2019, 2018. I don't remember exactly, but in 2011. I was doing a lecture in São Paulo in a UFO meeting, and I remember there's this guy which we call Nilson Ciccone. Nilson was an older guy. He had, I think, around 78 years old at the time, and he was in the meeting. He was watching the lectures. And then when I was talking about Varginha, I remember he hung up his hand. He said, "Oh, this Varginha case is real. It's real. I know a chief of police, and he showed me a picture of it." And then I was like, "Wilson, really? Come on." And then he was quiet, like an older man, like quiet, and then he didn't want to
Hmm.
share any more information. I was like, "Okay." And, and then I remember in the end of the lecture, I went to speak with him about it. This was two times. The first time he didn't want to say anything more. And the second time, the second chance that I have with him, I told him, "Hey, this is really important, Nilson. You told me you know some chief of police that was involved. I never heard the police that in Brazil we call Polícia Civil. It's another kind of police, you know." And they say, "I didn't know that the Police Civil was involved." Say, "Yes." And then we did a deal. Say, "Come on, I come here, I pick up you. Can you drive me there?" And then he explained me that he knew this chief of police because his son lived in the same city in Minas Gerais as the chief of police Pedro, and was a neighbor. And then one time he told his son because he knew that his dad was ufologist. And then one time when the Nilson went to visit his son, the son introduced to the chief of police, and the Pedro saw Nilson, and then say, "Oh, I trust you." Then I know you like, I'm gonna show you something. And then Nilsson said he showed the picture of the creature. And then I was like, really? And then I can't believe it, Nilsson. I said, yes, if you pick up me like next week, we can go there. I'm gonna introduce you to the chief of police. I said, yes, please. And then I remember I was calling, nothing, nothing. So
Ah,
he denied to go with me. So okay, years gone, and then in 2018, I was investigating another case, which is a city close to Varginha. That was a case that a girl, the name is Patricia. Patricia, she was in a she was fishing. No, she was in a, do you know place where people fishing like a lake, a
yeah,
big lake? And she was with more five people. They were six people, and she thought she was there. And then some UFO hovering the place and stopped it by her. And then the lights from the UFO came to her, and then she felt the floor. And then the other guys was like, and the UFO disappeared. And then they took her to the hospital. And then she went to the hospital. And then after she wake up, and in the hospital, and the doctors was asking her about it, and she's, I don't know, I remember, I'm not feeling anything. So she was good. And then she said okay, and she left to the hospital. And she said, I think 3 weeks later, she had a call from another investigator of the police, civil investigator. And then they say, hey, the chief of police of the city would like to talk to you. And could you go to the police station? I said, yes, but why? He say, I don't know. He just wants to talk to you. No problem, nothing. He just wants to talk to you. And then she went there. And then the doctor, the Pedro, it was Pedro. And then Pedro, because Pedro was the police, the chief of police, the city that she was living, that we call Cambuí. It's a Cambuí city. And then Patricia
s-
went there, and then Pedro, she told me, she asked, she was talking for 3 hours. She told me with Pedro. Pedro always like asking questions. She said, "Why? How do you like? How was your sighting? Everything about her sighting." And she had some physic problems in her
physical.
body
Yep.
because yeah, I was asking her, say, no, no, nothing. In the end of the conversation, she was curious, say, hey doctor, I know you were curious about my case, but I don't understand, why did you call me here? I don't get it. And then she said to me, oh, you know. And then she told me, he opened like
Like a
I forgot
file,
the name in English. Yeah, yeah. He had a
a
bunch of
folder,
newspaper, a lot of newspaper, like in his table. Do you know a place when you put it? You, how do you say when you lock
a file
something?
cabinet.
Yeah, looks like, yeah. Yeah, and then he opened it, and then he took some newspaper, and then she showed her, like, he throw in the table. She got it, and then she got it, and she was like reading Varginha case 1996 from the as a military base was like blah blah blah, like a newspaper from the time. It's just yes, doctor, I know Varginha, but what happened? Why you showing me that? And then she said he took a picture and showed her the picture there in the police station. And then she told me the details of the picture. So when I realized, when like, that's really incredible situation, because I was there
Holy shit.
to talk to her about her sighting. In the end of the conversation, I remember was like 12, lunchtime, and then I had a schedule that day to go to Varginha to shoot with. I was helping the History Channel, local TV History Channel, to do. They did a series here, and we shoot 13 episodes, and then am I supposed to go there to shoot with them, to help them, and then uh, I remember, am I supposed to get out to the car And then I say, oh, Patricia was like, hey, Marco, do you want to go inside? Let's go to my house to have a lunch. I said, oh, thank you very much, Patricia, but I don't have time. I have to be in Varginha to shoot with the History Channel. I said, oh, really? Okay. Oh, Varginha. Are you going to Varginha? I said, yeah. I said, oh, do you know Pedro? I was like, Pedro? Who is Pedro? Yes, the chief of police. And then I was like, yes, I heard. And then yeah, and then I asked him how's his name, and then she said Pedro, and then the Nilsson, like in my mind I reminded Nilsson. I was like, oh my God, Nilsson told me Pedro too. Also is the same name and the same city, you know. So
Right.
yeah, and then she told me all this story. I couldn't believe I said, Patricia, I can't believe. It's like, could you put me in touch with him? She said, yes, he's a really nice guy. We can go there. Say, okay, I have to go to Varginha now. So when I come back, we go there because it's kind of 3 hours away from Varginha. And
Right.
I had to go back to pass by her city to go to my house, my place. And then I remember I picked up her. We went there, like we knocked his door, and his wife said, "Oh, he just left. Like 1 hour ago, he left. He went to Three Horts to do some exams." And but what you guys wanna talking about it? And then I was like, "Fuck, I have to say." And then I say, "Oh, it's about the Varginha case, the alien. Do you know anything about it?" And she was like, she changed her the
D-
phrase like, "Oh, yeah." And then I said, "Do you know anything that you can share?" She said, "Oh, yes. He told me he saw the creature, right?" I was like, really? Yeah, yeah. And then she said, oh, yes, but you come back and then you talk with him personally. And I said, okay. And then I went back to another time with Patricia and 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 her daughter and another partner, the researcher partner that we were investigating. And then Pedro received us for the first time in his house, but he didn't say the same thing he told Patricia, you know. And then one time was really funny because my friend was telling, like I said, please don't say anything about the picture, anything. But in one point of the conversation, my friend, like he said, oh, Patricia, she said you showed her a picture of the creature, like in the police station, and then the police officer Pedro looked at Patricia and said, Patricia, I showed you that. And then Patricia was very like, yes, remember, you showed me the picture, you had some newspaper. And then he said, oh, yes, I still have the newspaper. I have it right here. And then I'm going to give to you this newspaper. But the picture, I don't remember anything about the picture. I showed you some pictures. Yes, you showed me, remember. I was like, oh my God.
the whole crumbling
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah. Then I was like trying to, because it was a bad situation right there, you know? And then I remember I changed the subject, the conversation. Then we were start to talk about another things, and then in the end of the conversation, I was like, "Hey, doctor, and then so do you know anything?" And then he said, I was involved there, but he didn't want to tell what's more his involvement. And then I remember when we were like say, oh, okay, thank you very much for the conversation. Goodbye. We have to leave. In the end, he said, hey, Marco, Patrice is not lying, okay? He just said that. I looked to him. I said, oh, okay. And then I was like, damn, it's about the picture. I don't know why he's gonna say Patrice is not lying, you know?
Right.
So,
Do you think that he
so
was getting ready to show you and
no,
unfortunately
yeah, I think he's not. He just showed these two people who they didn't know each other. One is a guy who lives in São Paulo, another state, a older man. Unfortunately, he already passed away, Mr. Nilson Ciccone, really great researcher, and Patricia, which is a local, like And then I remember I gave the number of Patricia to confirm all this story that I'm saying to you. Do you know Michael Schillingberger? Michael Schillingberger,
Yeah, Schellenberger.
Schelling, Schellenberger from New York Post. I put him in touch with her, and then her told him all this story. And I think it is in the article. I think he wrote the story in the New York Post article. You know, because it's hard to say. It's me saying. You know, it's hard to
Yeah,
believe me. People don't know me. You know,
right.
but you
I
have all these people to confirm. And Patricia said the details of the picture show two creatures. One in the one was in a fetal position, you
fetal
know,
position.
fetal position, and another one looks like was death, like in the on the ground. And then she said the picture you can see boots and the pants of the uniform army and the boots, some with some some military that was next to, you know. And then
Yeah.
that's what she said that looks like the picture. So he passed away. Where is the picture? And then we went with James Fox in this year. I think it was in January, February. We went there to speak with the son, with the daughter, and then he introduced us to the lawyer, and the lawyer told us everything. And then we told them about the picture. Said, "Hey guys, could you believe that maybe the pictures it is in your house with like your so and then really yeah so they right now they are trying to find because the daughter said that the doctor has the chief of Pedro has so much like files and they are
They're
trying
going
to
through
look
it.
to see to see if
But
it could
if they say they get their hands on that picture, do you think that picture, if it were to say come tomorrow, do you think that would be enough to sway the public? And
no.
no, you don't think it's enough?
No, no, I don't think it's enough because I think if you find the video, the video, the footage of the creature, if you put it to the people, they don't gonna. I think the public maybe is not gonna believe it because it's, I don't know,
There's
like
so much
it's,
mud in the
yeah,
water, there's AI, there's all of that. So, yeah, and honestly, that's the kind of the answer I was expecting. But what it would do is it would give us the people that know you, the people that study this subject, like if it did come from you and there was, you guys have done a really good job with chain of custody, like we laying out, you know, from beginning to end, who saw what, when, where, and how. You guys have done a really good job with chain of custody. So I feel like if you guys came forward with this picture, it would have a little bit more weight than usual if than if some, like Jaime Musan came with it. Because no offense to Jaime, but you know,
yes,
there's some stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, if you guys, so you do think that there's video and a picture in the possession of civilians.
yes, yes. I believe a
So,
very like a very strong believer, because
right.
I saw so many things. I heard so many conversations between the doctors. I don't know. I believe this is true. Like,
And they showed it to each other, right? The doctors, they
yeah,
were
mm,
showing it to each
yeah,
other.
like Italo said, but it's not just like Italo because before we getting to Italo, we had this new information from another sorcerer. It was another neurosurgeon who doesn't wanna appear. He's just said to us. He said to another sorcerer from the hospital, saying to us all, uh, the story of the footage is real because I saw. And this doctor, he didn't believe in the Varginha case because when he arrived in Varginha was 2000, and he said. He came from another state and he became a friend with all the doctors, and he became, yeah, he became a friend. And sorry, I lost my mind a little for a little. I was
It's
talking
okay.
about it.
So he was showing, yeah. So you had
Yeah,
another source
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
"Hey, this
exactly. Sorry.
this video exists. I've seen it."
Yes, yes.
What does the
Then I said,
video
okay,
show?
yes, that's what was the question. And then they said, oh, and then the story was like, I was I was a very good friend, and then in 2000, I think 2015 or 2016, uh, Marcos Vinicius called me, which is the cardiologist. I mean, he was a neurosurgeon too. Yeah, Marcos Vinicius called me and told me to come to his office. Was like 7:30 p.m., 8 o'clock. And then when I arrived, nobody was in the office, and he called me in the office, and then he got it like a CD and put it on the laptop and showed him the video. And I was like, okay, but what looks like? And then he said he saw the bed in the hospital, and then he could see the creature right there that he was filming. And then he said one thing that was kind of weird. He said, in the video, you can see the eyes of the creature. He doesn't know if it was a filter of or if it was the quality of from the time of
Mhm.
the VHS, or
Right,
because was
degradation and all that.
yes, but it was in CD. So the guy did from VHS to CD, and then he said that the eyes was look like a little greener. He doesn't know how to say it. Was look like a little greener, but was really like incredible, he said. So then he started to believe, and then Marcos Vinicius turned it to him and said, hey, see, now you cannot, like, now you stop to make fun of us like always, because this is real, and then I'm showing you this. Of course, this is gonna be between me and you, and then so stop. And then they said, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And then this neurosurgeon stopped to speaking about it. And then he knew about the investigation that James Fox was interesting in Varginha. We already did the moment of contact, the first one.
Mm,
And then and then he told a sorcerer, a friend of him, to tell us all this story. And then we were keep trying, and then we got into his friend, his colleague, that is Italo Venturelli. And then I think Italo Venturelli, for sure, he knows more than he's talking about it. He doesn't want to be too much involved, like with other friends, colleagues that was in that room at the hospital at the time. And I think he knows more things that what's happening, like with the military stuff. I think he saw more things that he's saying, you know.
right.
And then this is kind of little frustrated because only Italo came forward, and we hope that other doctors can and and get, and help Italo with that, because he's
Right.
suffering. He's suffering a lot, man, right now. I mean, because I heard something very bad things. I mean, even their family is not like, too much with, like,
There's
and
sep
he's sick. He's sick right now, right? He has cancer, and he's keeping working. He's keeping working. He doesn't wanna. He works every day. He said, I wanna keep working into I I'm dying, you know.
I met
It's
him.
crazy.
He is an extravagantly interesting human being. Um, very, very interesting human being. And when he spoke, I mean, Marco, I wish you could have been in that room. First off, Carlos D'Souza, when Carlos finished his speech at the National Press Club, there was like a 2 minute standing ovation of I looked around and people had tears in their eyes and he had tears in his eyes. And it was such a powerful moment, I think, for him, um,
Yeah,
being vindicated into some degree, right? Not, oh, not knowing how his story would be recepted by the public, by the American public specifically. You know, he's in a different country. There's a member of Congress, a United States member of Congress there. Uh, you know, there's a lot of pressure, but both of them got
yeah,
standing ovations by the whole crowd. It was truly powerful to be there, and those men, they're just not lying. And what do you think was why do you think that this story was buried so aggressively by the military
yeah,
and by the government?
yeah, man. I don't know. Hard to say because I think is once the case, the modern history. I mean that we have more witness, and I think also the pressure from the United States was a lot too. You know, because we know that like back to the that time, I heard from insiders that they fighted a little bit because a half of our our staff, the militaries, didn't wanna give to you guys, and the other ones, because of the politicians, say no. What are we gonna do with that? Let's give to them, and then was they had a kind of fighting to decide to give you guys because we heard
Oh.
the presence of Americans like from Air Force, from I don't know, for the government that was in Virginia. I find out actually also the hotel that they stayed in these days. It was one of the best hotel in Virginia at the time, and I spoke with uh, a guy who worked in there, a lady actually that worked in there at the time, and then she said about these Americans that I was like they stayed there at the hotel, and one security was 24-hour, like when they were sleeping in the morning, there was a security in front of it down on the reception, you know. And that's so what they were doing there, like in Virginia, which was very little city, 1996, you know.
Yeah. So
So
you have the air
so we
traffic controller who says that he was ordered to allow the landing of a US Air Force um helicopter. It was it in
yeah.
Campinas? Campinas?
Yes, in
So
Campinas, exactly.
they land and then they take something with them and then they leave and go back to the United States. Um, but you're saying that there was other Americans that were coming in and staying in the city of Virginia.
Yes, and at the same day, actually, they came like between January 20th, January 21st. You know, they came there. They already was there. We heard inside of has a military base also has testimonies that some Americans was there too. So they were doing, I think, some pressure to our government, or I don't know, they were trying to do with this, you know. And then the Campinas was the best place to bring this biologist bodies because they had it like in Campinas, we have this university that we call Unicamp, and inside of the Unicamp, we have this hospital that there's some doctors which works for the government. They do some experiences there, and some analysis, and then they brought these creatures to be analysis to from I heard 12 doctors from uh, different causes, like a cardiologist,
Yeah.
neurosurgery, like all kinds of doctors. And then I heard that was 12 doctors that was there to watch and to do some analysis with the military and the Americans there,
Wow.
you know?
So there is clearly a whole side to this story from the American side that has never been really told, right? Um,
Yeah.
all the witnesses, all the people that we've had come forward are all from the Brazilian, South American side. And
Yes.
wow, so do you think that, like, potentially, and I guess we're getting into some speculation here, but do you think that there was, how, like you said, the general called the air traffic guy and said, "Hey, do you see something on the radar?" Do you think that they knew that this craft? So again, to set the scene for people, you have Operation Saucer, right? And you
Yeah.
have the Brazilian or the South American. Is it Brazilian? Was
Yeah.
it the
Brazilian
Brazilian? So
Air
you have,
Force at the time.
at the time, you have the U.S. Air Force heavily investigating. For about a 3-month period, they gather over 500 hours of video, you know, 1,500 pictures, or there's just a lot of data. And then
Yeah.
the project gets abruptly shut down. Then 1996, Virginia happens. And do you think that potentially they shot this because when the farmer sees it and it's spewing out this white smoke, it seems like it has a hole in the back? And Carlos also says something like this. So, do you believe that maybe either the US government or the Brazilian government, or maybe both, they attacked this craft in order to bring it down, and that's why they had such a good response time and they were there almost immediately?
Yeah, that's what people, researchers, and I think even James Fox believe in this theory. Because look, the guy in December of 1996 when he was talking about this UFO that was hovering at the lake, he said the NORAD told the Air of Defense, Brazilian Air of Defense, uh, that we had a bunch of UFOs like activity that was monitoring by the NORAD, NORAD in
Yeah,
US. So I think they already knew it something and they were change, information with the Brazilian side, and then probably they came here the beginning of January or something, and then that's what people think that your maybe your airplane could shoot the UFO and attacked the UFO and the UFO crashed. But
right.
also I'm thinking like I don't know if they are a high technology. Actually, you don't know, but a very good technology. How they could let us like shoot, shoot the
I
UFO
understand.
can
Yeah.
happen, can happen, or can happen, you know. But it's really interesting, like And then we have this because I remember that there's a document that was talking about this NORAD that was telling our government about it also. And they were kind of worried, you
Yeah,
know?
why do you I mean, why do you think that South America has become such a significant region in UFO history? I mean, do you think it's the geography, the Amazon, being an isolated
Yeah.
region? What do
Yeah,
you think?
because Minas Gerais, it's a place, it is a state that we have a bunch of minerals, like some rare, and other, I mean,
Ah,
lots of it, and also there's a lot of like lakes and waterfalls. It's kind of places look like a jungle, but I don't know. This is only a hypothesis that they were, I don't know, doing some searching of that for the minerals. But the thing is, in 1996, 1995, 1996, 7, 8, in Brazil, was crazy the sightings. Not only in Minas Gerais, but we had a lot of cases in like a lot of states.
yeah.
We had in March of 1996, in March, in a city that we call Guarabira in the north of Brazil, in state of Paraíba, we have this huge uh, activity of UFO where 40%, 45% of the local people from the city saw the UFOs, and then it was a lot of shapes of UFOs, look like a triangle, a fly disc, like a
A disc.
orange ball, and
Uh-huh.
other kinds of shapes. And then so many people saw this strange activity, and then they called to the news, and then the news, I remember this, the same news that showed Varginha for the first time. They went there in March or April, and then the guy he was there, and the reporter, she got afraid because when she arrived there, she saw so many people. You can see on the I'm gonna send you this video. You can see all the people, locals, like running the streets. With cameras like pointing to the sky, and then they could film some UFOs there. But
Wow.
actually, the quality of the cameras wasn't good. One of the best quality was from the TV, because they had a good one, and then the guy could like do a
Yeah.
zoom, and then you can see like lights also, like changing sometimes in colors, but it was doing like, and then when you go there, and then when you talk to the local people, it's incredible the statements. And then there's this guy, he was skeptic, and he didn't believe in anything. He said he saw this UFO, and he couldn't. He said, if I get a rock, I couldn't like throw a rock. How near was, how close, like low, you know. And it was
Right.
a strange. This was in Guarabira in March of 1996, and then we had another sighting in the south, and then so many cases, and then the chupacabra thing was started in a big in Brazil. You don't know.
Yeah.
I think was one of my favorite, because there's so many information that people don't have no idea. It is the chupacabras, you know,
Yeah. What's one thing from
attack.
that case that that stands out to you specifically?
From chupacabras.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a friend, he's a researcher. It's one of the incredible. I think he's a teacher. He did in 1997. He did a documentary by himself, like showing in his state all the taxes. I think the guy should watch this documentary. They call Dossier Chupacabras. It is on YouTube. And this my
Okay.
friend Carlos Alberto Machado, he did a tremendous job. And then you can see there he interviewed the veterinarians and the biologists, and he showed all the animals, unfortunately, it's images is kind of strong images, but it's a really incredible investigation that he did. And where he was investigating one night, he was there, and the family said, "Oh yes, we had like some attacks in the animals of our neighbors, and then and then we are seeing the strange lights at night here. I invite you to stay here tonight to see, because like 2 days ago we saw this strange big UFO hovering right here." And then Carlos Machado stayed there, and then they could film, like, it's bad quality, but you can see like a, a UFO hovering by very low, and then you can see like moving slowly, and then he disappeared. So the same day, I don't remember the time, but the next day, right in the morning, he went to the place, to the farm where this UFO was hovering, and then he knocked it, and then the the owner came out, and then Carlos asked, "Oh, do you did you see something at last night here?" I said, "No, anything." "Oh, do you have animals there?" "Yes, I have chickens, like a sheep." I was like, "Did you see? They are okay?" "Yes, they are okay." "So are you sure?" And then, "Yes, why?" And then the Carlos told up, "Because the attacks. Have you heard?" "Oh yes, of course. But mine animal is no problem." And then when he went there to see the animals was all with the same
Marks.
marks of the sun. And then the stranger thing it is, because he has this big uh, dog that make noise for anything, and then the noise of the dogs, no noise, anything of the noise from the night, and the next day they found all these animals deaf there with the same attack. So you can see a bunch of these images in the documentary, and then he interviewed the veterinarians and the biologists that they were doing the analysis on the body of the animals. And then the veterinarian said, "I never saw anything like that, because we found some bodies of a cow and a sheep on the lake, and then this is all supposed to be like with a lot of smelling, and then we got this body 3 days later, and they were intact with nothing, like, and with no smell, nothing of smell." So they show them on like do the analysis on the chickens and then they got some cows that unfortunately the ears of the cows was cut, like
Like
from
with
maybe the
laser
nails.
precision.
Yeah, looks like, but they said that this creature, the chupacabra, he had a big nail too, and the people, I don't know if he grabbed, I don't know, but you can see on the documentary, like, unfortunately, it's bad. I mean, but you see the cows without ears right there, and it looks like very. You can see the eyes of the cow very, I mean, you feel like bad, it's
Right.
incredible. Yeah.
That's I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And it was happening kinda in the same year. I mean, 1 year later, like, was a lot of
Do you
activity in Brazil.
do you think that maybe that is why, with all the various types of things happening, do you think that that is why the military, because I remember, I believe it's Military X who, um I like when he says it too, because James left it in the way he said it, but um when he asked what they were dealing with, Military X, they said um it's supernatural, like
Yes.
the demonic. Do you think that the military was maybe even a little frightened because of what was going on? and really, because everyone thinks like, oh, the government, the military, they know everything, and but that's not the case. They were probably just as like nervous. I mean, people are getting attacked.
Yeah,
At the night of the UFOs, Operation Plato, or Operation Saucer.
yeah.
So, I mean, do you think that the military really did believe that this was the supernatural?
Yes, actually, what a military act said, nobody knew it. Like the low rank, like in the army, like a soldier, a corporal, uh, they didn't know. Only who knew about the creatures was the sergeants or the other ones, and yeah, I
They didn't want to tell people because
Ye- Yeah, and we heard from the biologist, from the lady who worked in the zoo of Varginha, because we had a sighting in the zoo of Varginha. Unfortunately, this was not in the moment of contact. I told Jamie somehow, like in some way, we can put in the section of the zoo, because it was I don't know if you heard something about the zoo
I
in
did.
Varginha, that a lady saw the same strange creature as the girl saw, but with like a hamlet, like a yellow hamlet. Do you know a hamlet? Did I
Yeah,
say it?
helmet.
Yeah, helmet. Yeah, sorry, helmet.
So,
And then
and that's
this is
what.
was in April. Yeah, sorry.
No, 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 it's okay. So this is an interesting point. I want you to tell the story, and then we'll probably have to wrap up there for this time. But one of the things I've always said, about the smell, right? The sulfuric smell, um, the look of the creatures, of the beings, um, the eye color, right? The not slime, but the coating that was on them. They almost sound like they're aquatic beings from the water, right?
Yes,
And there's some
exactly.
sort of
Yeah.
thing about the river. You think that
Yes.
maybe they use the
Yeah.
river to travel, and that's why
Yeah.
when they were in the sun, the sun of when the girls saw them, that it was kind of hovering in trying, weak in the sun.
Yes, exactly. That's what and then I'm most sure that they came from the river. And then we know that the army also, they did a big investigation, and they were like in the border of the river. All the river, I think they went there to see if they could find more. I heard from another researchers that the militaries also saw another creatures. They got another creatures there, like near to the river. But these creatures, I thought, like I think they came from the river, and then that's what I because the sun they got very weak, and
Hmm.
then we never know actually because the thing is the Italo said what the colors was different, kind of different as the girl
Yes.
say, and the other witness said that was like brown, like with red eyes. And then when Italo saw was white, and it was look like an angel. And then he said the eyes was like more another color, not looks like too much red. But and then I think maybe if we have another kind of creature, or if it's the same creature that some chemical, some from some like some animals also when we die we
Yeah.
stay white, or you know because we had another sighting like very near from the couple farm, that was a creature that was hairy, a lot of hairy, and then they crossed the freeway, and then some witness saw that was they were driving, and it was very near from the couple farm that saw the submarine, and then people saw like this hairy creature like running there.
Whoa.
So there, and then that's what I'm gonna tell you. The veterinarian, the biologist from the zoo, told me about this other attack that happened at the time in three hordes. I think it was 22 chickens that was attacked with the same attack looks like chupacabra, you know. But the chupacabra at the area, the attacks from in Virginia, other city, was very little.
Mm.
Wasn't like other states. You know, we had some sightings, some animals attacked, but more I think 1997 the attacks growing up, and then but I remember the biologist from the zoo told me about this attack that happened like in the beginning of 1996 in three hordes, you know so I was telling, maybe, I don't know, like Italo, I think, in my mind, I think he saw the same creature, but people here is saying, oh, maybe he saw another one. I don't know. What do you think?
Honestly, even like when you look at like I forget, oh, goddamn, what do they call them? Like a salamander, or like they're able
Yes,
to, they're able to change what they look like.
yes. Looks
That
like
is
I
what I
think,
think.
yeah, that's the word, salamander. I was trying to
Yeah.
to find.
So like the like, and you talk about that reptile tongue, right? All of these things are indicative of the being having originated either from the water, or it comes from a world that is predominantly um water, like a water-based world. And we know that these exist. We've confirmed it with telescopes and with all the sensory data that we have. We know that there's and then the sun could be a lot either older, right? And that's why the eyes have this like protective coating, because it's darker where they come from.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's what I mean. And then the sulfuric smell, I think, is a byproduct of them being outside of their element. That's my guess. But I think
yeah,
that it's the same creature. But I do find it very interesting that you know the dichotomy of when the three girls see it and they run because horned being, like a horned being with red eyes and smells like sulfur. I mean, you just change out a
yeah.
couple words and that's a demon, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So they run home and they tell their mom, we saw the devil. And then she goes,
Yeah,
and then she sees the footprint in the thing. And our ancestors, what if that's what they saw, and they said demon, right? But
yeah,
Idolo,
yes,
but Idolo sees it, he interacts with it, right? And he says, no, it's angelic,
yes,
right? So
yes.
it's
Italo.
just a matter of perspective.
Exactly. Yes, I believe too. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just a nobody though, right? I don't know anything. So but I do think it's perspective. And what if our ancestors saw this same kind of thing and they called it angels and demons? Now we say
yes,
alien.
exactly.
So
Perfect.
like, with Idolo, when he connects with it, when he tells you that this this sense comes over him, this feeling of calm, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
can you tell me a little bit more about what he felt? And this is a neurosurgeon. This is a guy that he has a very he doesn't need money. He doesn't need
Yeah.
the attention. And for him
Yeah.
to say this kind of stuff, it is, it does not benefit him.
Yes, exactly. And you don't know how many people sent me a message saying, I can't believe, like from locals from Varginha. See, I can't believe Italo is talking now because he's really like respectable, like your doctor. Everybody knows him here. He's like a genius because very good neurosurgery. And I heard people who came to me say, "Oh, he saved my life. He gave me another perspective of life." People love like Italo's there, and they never kind of expected that he was there. I mean they
Right.
they had in mind, but I never. So Mitalo said that we could. I think he could feel something from the eyes from this creature because, uh, like he said, he could he could see some feeling something from that came from the eyes, and then he said when the creature was there in the bed. He's like looking to him and then look to the window from the window that and then a little bit up and then came back and looked to him too again. And then he was like like he feel it look like a very calm that is something that came in his mind. I think I don't know that he feel it only him. Because when you get the Roger Lear's book, the Roger Lear's the other doctor from US,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep.
and he wrote a book from Varginha, and then in the book. When he came here in 2002, he wrote a thing. If you see if you read someplace there, you can see that the doctor did telepathic communication or something. And in Roger Leah's book, there's much more information actually about this connection and what the being could transfer to them that Italo said. And I don't think that Italo told me it wasn't him that spoke with Dr. Roger Lear. So that was another doctor, because Roger Lear said this is another doctor told him a lot of details and about this telepathic communication. And then
Right.
maybe right there in this time where Italo was, uh, he said he feel it something like good,
Yeah,
like
but that's
we are
independent.
very
That's
yeah
verification, right? If it's not him that talked to Roger Lear, then that is another doctor who I believe claimed that the being kind of took over, right? And was like,
yeah
not took over, but was giving him direction on how to assist the creature, right? If
yes
I'm not
yeah
mistaken.
yeah exactly yes, you're
So it
right.
was a much more involved process. So I would assume that this has got to be because
Yeah.
Italo comes in after, or he says he comes in after
Yeah.
the procedure's already been done. Um,
Yes.
so it's got to be another doctor that was there during the procedure that said all this.
Yeah.
So again, it's very interesting. But and I believe the being actually told someone that you guys, if only you knew what you were capable of. I feel bad for
Yes.
you.
Yes. And something
Imagine
like
that.
that. Yes. Tyler, I'm gonna tell you something here. It's really funny because when we had this dinner with other doctors, one which was very serious, like he's never smile, never wants to talk. I know him like for a while. And one time when Italo was telling the story for everybody there, and he was very, how do I say, when Whittle was telling you, I have this, I filmed this, okay, so I cannot reveal yet, but he admitted one time that because one guy asked something to Italo, and then the other doctor answered, and he was like biting his, when you have, he was very like doing this, like it's
Right.
unbelievable. Then I show James was there, and then I was like, James, I need to show you something because the doctor, I was right here with him, like very near, and then one time when the guy asked something to Italo, and then he said something that he was admitted that he was there too, and then but nobody got it. Like I got it. I have this film and I showed James. James, I can't believe, man, he was there
What?
too. Yeah, these expressions that he does, like and then I think, but
Nervous.
he's very conservative. Very, he doesn't like too much to talk. It is once the doctor that very hard to you have a good conversation because other ones is open, like you speak with that one, it's hard. So I don't
Understood.
know, but this is that just to tell you, I never said that before yet, but I have this and I have his kind of answered answering the other guy that
Right.
was the dinner, but the other guy was I mean, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, for us, that we are inside of the investigation, it's so I believe so bad. But and then before the guy, this doctor admitted with Italo, and then he looked at you, Italo, said Italo one time looked at her, right, and I said yes, and then but before that, before like right in the beginning, uh, in 2021. I was in his office. We went to talk, and then I remember I asked the lady who worked with for him, and then I remember I was talking to her and said, "Hey, I don't know if I believe in this Varginha case is happening. I think this was created by the mayor or something by the city. I don't think." And then she said, "No, the case was real." I said, "Really?" And then she said, "Yes, I was here." And then she said the name of the doctor. Another doctor said, "I was here when this doctor sent a fax. Remember fax?
Facts.
We
Yeah.
have a fax." And then he said, "I remember when I received the fax that I showed to the doctor saying that the creature already was in the hospital, so he went there." How do I explain to you this? I don't know if you
So
got it.
there was a there was a fax paper that said
Yeah,
that there was documented evidence
yeah, but
saying,
she told me she's like
"Oh, of course.
after.
Yeah, 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 of course."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but a fax did come through, like alerting
yeah,
certain people, "Hey, we need you."
yeah, yeah. Learning the same doctor who admitted right now
Holy shit.
that was the dinner. And then I already knew this information because the lady who worked for him, who's working, is still working. She said, "I work for this doctor for like almost 30 years. And she works in the office. She's a secretariat. You
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
hear, right?"
yeah.
Yeah. And then she said to me, and then I think she said, "Damn, I think I spoke too much." I think she said, because James was there. And then I said, "Oh, really? Really? Did you receive?" "Yes." And then I showed the doctor. I said, "Oh, okay." And I remember James was recording some scent. And then I went to James and said, "James, you can't not believe the lady just confirmed that she had this fax and then I like telling this other doctor because it was one doctor which was a friend sent to another doctor, and then she got it the fax.
Right.
And then I told James, and James, "Let's go, come back there." And then we were there, and then we went back, and then I started with another conversation with her, likely for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and James was there, and I was like, "Hey, could you so did you have the facts? And then James was there with me, and then she said, no, no fact. Ask James. When you have a chance, you can ask James about it. And then she
I
said,
will.
no facts, no. So, so we have all this behind of scenes things that confirms more than sometimes
More,
you see the, see
yes,
the
there
video.
is
I
way
mean,
more to
it's
this
crazy.
case
Yes.
than
Yeah, and
I think there's a
there's more
lot
people
more
involved.
people involved. Yes, bingo. There's a lot more involvement. So perhaps, perhaps it seems like it's like one of those interesting like moments where a town, where like a city, something happened that night or those over those course of days, right? And a
Yeah.
certain amount of people. Oh, I just had a fly come into my eye. God.
Oh yeah.
But
Oops.
it seems that there were some people involved, doctors, but very, 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 very respected people, right?
Yeah.
And they all kind of agreed that this can't go public. Not yet, at least at the time. But something happened over those course of days. There was a lot of people involved. And yeah, the other people saw it, and they have little bits of the puzzle, but the people that actually had eyes on the creature, the being, the people that operated on it, they are the highest of respected individuals in Virginia, and they have the most to lose by this getting
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Perfect. Because Varginha, it is one of the cities in the south of Minas Gerais which has the best doctors and equipments in the hospital. It is in Varginha, so they are very
How
well
convenient.
respected doctors, and then also they make a lot of money. That's what I said. I think 1 million like
Yeah.
reais is nothing for them. Also, that was the amount that they were offering. But I don't think it is about money. It is about
No.
another thing. You
No.
know.
I think that what they did, because when you, as a doctor, now hear me out on this, as a doctor, you swear an oath, right? you
Yeah.
swear you swear an oath to do your to do your best, to treat the patient. So when the patient came in, it
Yeah.
it was less about it being a not human, but more about it being an intelligent life, and they did what any person would do, is try to help. They thought what they were doing was the right thing, and the military's there saying, hey, do this. So it's also kind of patriotic. They're helping their country. So what they thought they were
Exactly.
doing, right? So you see all
No,
the
perfect.
pieces get set.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect you said because one of the doctor, two actually, one already passed away. They were all from they worked from the police department because I think US too, but here we have some doctors in Virginia and then also they do a test to be part of the police. They are doctors also from the police, so
Yep.
they are police officers. One of that, do you know who? Armando. Armando, you bet. He's a police officer, and he was before from Air Force. So these guys, they were in control. Like at the time, Humanitas Hospital was a new one that these guys built it, and they had the best equipment from the time. And then the creature, they took the creature from the regional hospital, which is a public hospital, to the private, like a private, I mean, uh, hospital.
Yeah.
It is Humanitas. It's still into today, like rich, good equipment. So these doctors, they built it together, the the Humanitas Hospital, and then the owners at the time who built the Humanitas, it is the same doctors who's work for the police too. So they are kind
Exactly.
of militaries too. So it was easier for the army and for the other officers
To lock
to
it down.
get it, yeah, to lock it down because they have a hospital and they are police officers. So
Yep.
it was much easier than bring the creature. Like they would like to know, I think, what what was
Yeah.
happening.
And I, what before we wrap up, have you ever a lot of people in this case from the mother of the girls to Carlos D'Souza to several other people, I mean Military X and all this, Eric Lopes, who is very elusive, right? Um,
Yeah,
maybe one of the only people on the planet that knows they can like handled a being in that capacity. You know, there's probably only a handful of people on the planet that can say that they did that. And this guy, you know, he lost his best friend that he's married to the this brother, you know what I'm saying. He
yes,
Eric Lope is married to the sister of Marco Shirizi, right?
yes, yes.
So I mean, that guy,
That,
that we could talk for hours about him, but
yeah,
do you think he'll ever come forward?
I don't think so, man, because another friend.
He lost too
I,
much that day.
do do you know? I have another researcher friend. Do you know Ronnie Verde?
Yeah,
Have you heard of Ronnie?
I
So
have.
Ronnie, yeah, Ronnie, he went there to have access. He had access to speak with Eric, and then but he went to speak for another subject to try to introduce the subject. Because a chief of police of Varginha, another called João Pedro, another chief of police at New, said, "Oh, you can go and talk to Eric Lopes." And then Ronnie went to speak with him, but he asked another thing, nothing about ET. And then when Ronnie came back to speaking with him again to introduce, he already didn't want to talk to Ronnie, said to Ronnie also the same thing he did with us, like leave from here, leave from here. So I don't think he's gonna come forward. And the relationship that he has with Marco Cherizi's sisters, it is because when they were child, they grow up together, and then they came, like they were friends when they were little kids, and then they grow up, and then they both did the test for the police.
Mm-hmm.
So they both came to the police, and then that's what Eric always was in his family place, and then he
Yep.
met one of the sister, and then married. So he's married one with one of the sister. So this sister that called Miriam, she said, he doesn't talk about it, the case. He never is gonna talk about the case. You know, that's weird. And she got mad with us too, like different than Marta. Marta is like helping us. But the wife, the others, the Eric Slop's wife, she
She
doesn't
doesn't
like
want
too much.
because
Yeah, she
think
doesn't want.
think about that, right? And I think they lost they lost a lot that day,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
Marco, for anyone that doesn't know, so can you explain what happened to Marco?
Yes, Marco Cherizi, he was with Eric Lopes. They were investigating, driving the neighborhood, and then this creature passed by, like in front of their cars, and then Marco Chirisi somehow that we don't know the details. That was a this was an explanation from another sorcerer that was a military, and then he said that Marco Chirisi came out to the car, grabbed the alien somehow that we don't know the details, put it the creature inside of the car, and then they drove to the hospital with the creature and then gave to the military staff. And then 27 days later, like 3 weeks later, he started to be sick, like, and then he went to the hospital, and then they did the best thing that they could do with him, like they they gave the best antibiotics by vein in his system, and the doctor said his system got worse, and then unfortunately he died, like 27 days after. And then like many years later, now we have a better explanation for the cause of his death. So Mr. Giannini, the doctor, the pathologist, and the Armando Fortunato, which was who did the autopsy, both did the autopsy. Mr. Giannini did it in all kinds of members, like in his body,
Hmm.
and then he said he could find a really strange bacteria. It is actually is a normal bacterium in Earth, and then you can get this bacterium is easier to get it in dogs or cats or animals. He said it's very hard to human get it, this bacterium, but Marco Cherises had it, this bacterium, but this bacterium was most strong than it is. He said, how do I say, some manipulation that happened with the bacteria that got her the bacteria very strong, and the antibiotics couldn't save Marco because it was very strong.
Right. So it like
So
it almost like mutated.
mutated, that's the word.
And
Exactly.
we have a saying, in the United States. So the doctors threw the kitchen sink at Marco. They did everything they could. They gave
Yeah,
all the treatments they could think of, and his body simply just got worse and rejected. Um,
of course.
Unfortunately, and then his mother, she only speaks a couple times about this, but
Yeah,
after speaking to the military,
yeah.
she essentially just says, you know, she just goes along with the official narrative. Is this correct?
Yes, it is. Because in the first year, when Marco Cherizi passed away, they didn't know what it was. They thought there was a. They thought the doctors did the wrong procedure, and then he died. They never thought that he was involved in the capture. I mean, Marta, she had some suspicious because she said, like 2 days before he got sick, because Marco Cherizi, he worked in another job. He was a police officer man, and also he was a taxi. He drove a
Yeah.
taxi car. And then she said she went and to his, like she was talking to him, and then he said, "Hey Marco, have you heard something about this strange creature that was in Varginha?" And then she said he looked to her, said, "Yes, you see, this case." He used some expressions, said, "Oh, this is gonna do a lot of noise. This case is gonna turn in a lot of noise," but I didn't say anything to her. But Marta said that night when it happened, Marco Cherizi, he arrived at home all wet because that night had the biggest rain that the local people said, we never saw this strange rain storm that happened that night. And then Marco Cherizi arrived to the house all wet to change his clothes because he had to go out again. and then he changed the clothes all wet, put in another, and then get out. So she didn't know where he went. So probably when he was there all wet was because he was trying to, he already did the right there the capture probably,
Right,
and then
right,
he went there to take shower and change the uniform, and then but he didn't was with work without uniforms, and then she said she had some suspicions, but she will discover that he was involved 1 year later when Pacatini and Ubirajara, after the details that they got it, that the Marco Cherise probably was involved. So they came to the family very hard to give this notice, and he said, "Oh, probably if we tell you guys that your brother was involved in the alien capture." And in the beginning, they, what? No, no, you're crazy. Why? And then they
right.
were, and then afterwards, Martha said because of this, they would like to know more, and then they were keeping asking the Marcos Cherise's friends, and then some friends came to them and said, "Oh, this case is real." That's what I when the side of the policemen told her moms to that the creature was real, and
Yeah.
probably and then she realized, but she doesn't like to speak about it. Only Marta.
Because they told her that
Yeah.
it would collapse society, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Like
Unfortunately.
it would ruin religion, it would ruin the stock market, it would collapse society. So and an older woman like that, her son is in the military, he's in the police. Um, he dies in the line of duty. They say, "Hey, he died a hero." Right? He died
Yes. Yes.
right? So they get her in her head and say, you know, he did he did what he needed to do. He did what he signed up to do. And we're going to tell you, but you can't tell anyone cuz society will collapse if true. But he dealt with the supernatural.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
crazy. That's crazy to
That's
me.
crazy. Yeah.
Um
It's so many things. You know.
before before I let you go for the night, because it is 11 now.
I know.
No, 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 it's okay. Um,
Sorry.
no, 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 don't be sorry, please. We're gonna make plans because I want to come down to Brazil and I want to see
Yeah.
everything. I want
Yeah. For
what
sure.
what do you make of like the stuff like the Boogosphere?
The Boogosphere. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Like?
the Jaime Musan, they got the sphere thing.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
In Varginha.
What?
In Varginha, no. You say
No,
I
no,
think you didn't get it.
um
Jaime Malson.
yeah, he has this thing like a metal ball.
Oh yes. I don't know actually.
How do you not know about this, man? Um
No, actually I don't know. Sorry.
it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
I know him some stories about it. I was with him here in 2013 when he came to Brazil, but I don't know about this metal. I just know about the boobies.
Oh, right, right,
Boobies.
right, right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so funny. Uh
yeah,
have you has anyone ever come to you or
yeah.
anyone you know and said, "Stop investigating this"?
Oh no, like from the not really. Just the people like friends only. Like, hey, you're wasting your time, your life, blah blah blah. But no, not thanks God, no from the
Government or
military or
military?
government side. Yeah, we know, like we have some suspicions that in some part of the investigation they were listening. They were listening what we were trying to, because was really weird, because we were trying in the beginning, we were trying to reach to all the militaries that was involved, because remember the military acts did the statement in 1996. Remember that I told you the statement that he gave in 1996 telling his
Yes.
story. Yeah, so that story, he said the names of all the
The
militaries who was there. Yeah, he said the names. So we went to reach all those. And then I remember they couldn't know that we are going to call. I remember we called the Captain Ramirez, and hey, Captain, I said the first name of Captain Ramirez is Edson, and then I said, hey, please, can I speak with Edson? And then the guy say, there's no Edson in this number. I said, no. No Edson Ramirez? No, no. Okay, sorry. And then, like 1 hour later, my friend from another state, which lives in the same state and has the same area code, like the first area code
Yep.
of Edson, called him again, say, "Hey, Edson," and then said, "Yes, who is?" who? And then I was like, "How they know that was me? How they know?" So we were trying to reach all the names, and then all this military said the same answer. Said, "I don't know. I cannot talk about this case. Only if you have to reach to the army, like is a section that I have to call there and ask to this section to let them talk to
Right.
the for the
And they're
for
never going to
interview."
say yes.
Yeah, they never gonna say
Of
yes. He
course, they're
already
never going to
said.
say yes.
Yeah,
So,
they already said, no, this has never happened. Say, "Oh, okay, please, but could you do an interview?" No, no, you have to talk to them. Yeah,
Jesus.
you know, yeah.
So, what is next? You kind of alluded to it. So, there's going to be another cut of moment of contact or a follow up.
Yes, I don't know yet, because James is doing something, like I know he's doing, he wants to do, he's gonna come back this year to we keep doing, but I don't know where, when he's gonna release or what he's planning. But I know he's planning to do the third,
That's
because now
wild.
yeah, because right now with this power, like with the all the you guys now with Trump, with all the disclosure that looks like it's coming from your side, this is expiring also our government. Like
Right.
some inspiration, and then we have other, like senator or other politicians that are it is in our side too, to help us to see if they can release the documents of Varginha, because it is the only documents that we don't have one paper of it, and they
Right.
never release anything we have from Operation Saucer. A lot of documents, incredible. We have from the ninth official of UFOs in Brazil, that was in '86. We have the documents, but Varginha case,
Nothing.
unfortunately, nothing. And
I
then
know
we know
every
there's there. We know because we did a FOIA request here. We have a FOIA to request, and then they said, "Oh, right now, like because we found the documents from the army and Varginha, we found there. The files is there, but we don't know what is it is. We needed to read."
Oh,
But we don't know. So we request a FOIA, and the FOIA said, "Oh, we are very busy, blah blah blah," and always answered. So we are trying to see to read what it is behind these files from Army. It is right there. So with moment of contact is helping, I think, also,
right.
and of
Right.
course, and Trump, it's helping us too, because our government follow you guys too.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah.
And every time, they dump, UFO files, I go in and I immediately type in Varginha and try to
Yeah.
find nothing yet. But um, I think if we can corroborate the American side that the Americans were there, I think that is one of the next dominoes. If it falls, then this case, I mean, this is the case that just keeps on giving. It
Yeah.
really is. It's tremendous what you guys have been able to do. It blows me away. The amount of res- respectable, highly credible individuals that are associated with it. It's truly a case of its own. It's in its own bracket. I don't think it can be compared to anything else. It is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best, crash retrieval and contact, like contact with a non-human intelligence. It's unbelievable what you guys are doing. I can't wait to see. I know you have a lot of stuff behind closed doors that you guys haven't even, let out yet. And I really am. I'm excited to see what you got coming next. Where can people find you and continue to follow what you're doing?
Oh, thanks so much. Yes, I have my own channel here on YouTube. It's long time I don't post videos, but now I'm gonna start again to put more videos and do some lives. And you are gonna, I want you on my on my
Hey,
channel.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And if people wanna reach me, you also can be on my Instagram, on Leo Marco Aurelio. It's hard to to pronunciate, but
I'll
it's
put the
Leo.
link in the description below.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and then yeah, feel free to reach me up. And I thank you for the opportunity. And I think the most important now, you guys by your side, that's where James and Leslie King they are trying to get information from Varginha case from your side, because there's
Hmm.
so much things in US, you know. So yes, I wanna let like you guys know, like thank you very much for your opportunity. And oh, a friend, a very good researcher, and Famundes, very nice. This is very nice guy
Well,
and
when
good researcher.
I would, like I said, I'd love to come down. I know, I don't know if I should actually say this, but I know you just met with someone, and there's probably a show coming out soon, that will include, uh, are you in it?
Yes, I did. Yes, I was a little with him there
Okay,
too.
okay. So you'll be on that. I can't really we won't give it away. I don't know if he wants that, but um there will be more from the Varginha case coming very soon. And I want to come down there. I really want to meet everybody. So we should definitely set that up, man.
Yeah, let's do it. You are very welcome, and just come, and then I show you everything. I
That's what I
for
want.
investigate.
And
Yeah,
Carlos, when I met Carlos, it was he like I said, I got to speak to him for quite a while after, and I got to ask him a lot of questions. And um, he said when I come down that he wants to sit down and have a cup of coffee and um, talk. And I think it'd be really cool if we could all get together and go to the site of the crash and do the whole thing, right? Meet as many
yeah,
people as I can. So uh
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
it's it was really, really wonderful talking to you tonight, Marco. You're the best.
Oh, thank you again, and thank you the audience to hold 3 hours almost. And sorry that I speak too much and my English. Sorry about my English. I wanna say hi to my friends from Brazil here, Ivan, my friend here, very good researcher too. And yeah, Just
Yeah,
that. Thanks
of
so
course.
much.
And we'll be talking again shortly. I love you guys, and truly keep fighting, because I think this case could be proved to be one of, if not the 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 case that breaks the dam, because it's got everything. It's got crash retrieval, it's got international involvement, it's got cover up, it's got beings, non-human beings, it's got heavy involvement from witnesses that are credible. So, as long as you guys are there, I honestly, uh, I know that the truth will come out. It's just a matter of time, especially when guys like you are on the case and James is on the case. And it's been incredible to watch Virginia come back to life, if you will. Right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
to everybody out there, we didn't announce that we were going to do the show tonight live. Usually I pre-record, but I have so many episodes that are in the queue right now that I couldn't do another edit. So to everyone that's going to watch in the future and listen in the future, we just hit a milestone. We had our first episode hit on audio, 250,000 downloads. It was unbelievable. As a show that is independently run, to have 250,000 downloads on one episode in less than 30 days. It was truly amazing. We're really trying to bring the heat, bring people in the studio, and really bolster the video side. And we will have video on Apple Podcasts coming soon. YouTube just doesn't like our content. They don't like us over on YouTube. So we'll keep fighting that, though. Marco, you're amazing. And to everyone, stay humble, stay kind, and stay vigilant. Till next time.